Hello, everyone. Jerome Jones here from the Crime Stoppers studio in Montgomery, joined by Crime Stoppers Executive Director Tony Garrett. Tony, we're here to talk about the Gun Buyback. Your annual Gun Buyback is coming up. Tell us a little bit about this event and what this event does for public safety.
Yeah, so far, it's exclusive for Montgomery. We're looking for to branch out into other communities in the future. But right now, we're only doing it in Montgomery. And what it does for the community, it actually brings more awareness to actual guns being out there on the street. We know that we're not going to get the ones that are actually involved in crime to give up their guns. But what about the uh, older generation that has a gun in the house that may have a loved one may have left it on a death, or it may have been given to a female when she was going to college and she never learned how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get those type of guns. Those are great for us to get off the streets, because if you're not using a gun for your protection and it's just sitting there, that's a high probability that someone's going to break into your home, break into your car, steal it, and use it in a crime.
Well, that's an excellent segue, Tony. We know from law enforcement that a lot of guns that are used in the commission of a crime are stolen guns. So in the past, just tell me a little bit about what kind of people, you kind of touched on it just a minute ago, but what kind of people do you usually see at this gun buyback event that are saying, hey, I have this weapon that I'm not using, I just want to get it out of my house? What kind of citizens usually participate in the gun buyback?
Well, you just said it. That's normally the majority of the people that we see. We had a situation, last gun buyback we did last year. We had a mother that lost her son during a suicide, and they gave the gun back to her, and she had no use for that gun. Gun still had blood on it from the suicide. So we hear heartstringing stories like that, or the widow that lost her husband, and her husband just had about 15 guns that just were just sitting there. She was afraid that someone was going to break into the house and steal those guns. She didn't want them out to the public, so she didn't want to go to a pawn shop. She didn't want to sell it to a relative or someone not knowing what they would do to those guns. Every time that we get a gun in, it's destroyed. We pretty much have a company that comes in and they take apart all the guns, and sometimes, not in this case, the next one, but majority of the time we have the people there that are actually destroying guns from previous gun buybacks on site.
Now, one of the big questions that I've been getting, Tony, since we've been promoting this gun buyback is people calling me and saying, well, you know, will I remain anonymous? What happens if, the gun was used in the commission of a crime, or I have this gun, I don't know where it came from, I just want to get it away from my home or out of my car. What assurance do people have that, I'm not going to get a call from a detective getting questioned about this gun that I turned in?
No, when you come to our gun buyback, all you have to do is have the gun in your rear seat or your trunk and tell us what a gun is. We don't ask you for your ID. We don't ask you for your name. We go to the trunk, we retrieve the gun, make sure it's unloaded, and then we give you cash for that gun.
Tell us
And
a
that's
little
it.
bit about the cash that I know we have some different tiers for different types of firearms. Can you tell us some about that?
Well, $50 for any type of shotgun or rifle, and then $100 for any handgun, and I think it's $200 for any assault rifle.
Okay. Now, as far as location, time, we'll get to that now. And also, when people come to this gun buyback, what instructions do you have for them? How does it go as far as them getting that gun to you and, it getting destroyed? Is it just like a drive-through event, or how does that work?
It's a drive-through event where you show up. We give you the location. You show up between 10 and 2, and you have the guns unloaded if possible. Sometimes they do. We have females come in or males that come in that don't know how to unload the gun. Just tell us that, hey, it may be loaded, just so we can take it and we can use that precaution. But leave it in the trunk of your car or the rear of your car and just tell us what a gun is. We'll retrieve it for you. If you can have it in a bag or something like that, that even makes it better, because we're looking at safety.
Mhm.
So when we get the gun, we're going to go ahead and examine it, and then we're going to give you cash for that gun. And that's it.
Now, in the past, these have been pretty successful. Have you had any inquiry from another jurisdiction or other cities or towns that would like to do something like the gun buyback?
All the time, because Alabama is unique. It has a actual law that states that no government entity can actually do a gun buyback. That's where we come in. We're able to put on a gun buyback, but we ask for city involvement. And what that means is that we had a support from the city for us having outside resources where we can do it safely. Also, we sometimes have other service providers there where if a person needs counseling or if a person just needs instructions on maybe a young sibling or adult that's in their household that needs some type of assistance that may be going the wrong way. Sometimes we have ministers there from the churches that come in and they'll talk to the parents, they'll talk to the people that are there in attendance, and we'll try to get them some type of resource. Reason that we're doing a gun buyback is to get people just to talking about guns in general. For us, if you have a gun, how do you use that gun? How do you maintain that gun? Where do you shoot? Because if you're proficient in a gun, then yes, you can carry a gun and you're more likely to use it if you're involved in a crime. If you just have a gun on your side and you never practiced with that gun, you never change out the bullets because the bullets get old. If you never maintain that gun, put oil on it, and fire it every once in a while, it's a good chance that your gun will be taken from you during an act of crime. Because a criminal, they practice what they do. If you just carry a gun and you're just having it because it looks good and you think it's a toy, more than likely you're going to get that gun taken away from you in a fight or in some type of fight situation where a crime is involved.
Because guns do that's another aspect of gun ownership that a lot of people neglect or don't know about. A gun does require a certain level of maintenance and cleanings to keep it working effectively, correct?
Yes, if I carry a gun on me, I'm going to make sure that I have the right bullets in it, that the bullets are fairly new, that I test fire the gun every once in a while to make sure that I'm proficient in shooting it. Because if you're thinking you're going to be the hero and you're at a shopping center or you're at a location and someone has a gun and you think you're going to take that gun out and use it, you need to be mindful. Are you proficient enough to where you can shoot the assailant without harming innocent bystanders? A lot of times you can't do it. I know police officers do it every day, and they have to have that in the back of their mind. Where do I shoot or don't shoot?
And of course, the average person is not as proficient in carrying and shooting a weapon as law enforcement or somebody that may have been versed or trained in shooting. So that brings us to my next question, Tony. When you talk guns, you got to talk ammunition, right? So say, someone found a weapon in their home. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they found a weapon and turned it in at some other point, but they have a bunch of ammunition sitting around. They don't know what to do with it. Will that be accepted?
Yes, please bring us your ammo because we don't want it destroyed or put into our landfill and have that ammo there where it may explode in the future.
Yeah,
so please give it to us, and what we'll do, we'll give it to law enforcement for them to use it during training. SWAT teams, law enforcement agencies, they actually use that ammo to train with. Okay. So you'd be doing a good service if you have ammo that's just sitting around and not being used.
Yes, sir. And there's no payment for that ammo, though, right? We just firearms you'll get paid for.
Yes.
Is there anything else that we didn't cover about this gun buyback, Mr. Garrett?
Again, the reason that we have a gun buyback is to have that service or that resource for people that needs to get rid of a gun that's not being used. Also, is to get the conversation started in your home. If you're not talking to your kids about guns, someone is talking to them about guns. Or they're seeing it on television. They're seeing it in movies. They're seeing it in cartoons. So have the conversation with your child or with your young adult about guns. If you're able to train your kids, that's great. The right way to use things is perfect because then you have a better understanding if you actually need a gun. We want the conversation to be had. There is no right or wrong uh, way to talk about guns. It's just you just have to do it. Your mindset and what you teach at home probably play a difference in your child's life livelihood. If you're able to tell them, okay, if you're gonna be out doing something wrong, you might be the one to tell them, well, you don't need a gun, or you may be able to deter them from getting a gun in order doing things the wrong way.
Now, for people that are legal gun carriers, right? Some local law enforcement agencies do offer firearms training courses. Is that correct?
Yes, Montgomery City, Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, they offer gun firearms familiarization courses. If you need more information about that, we'll be there and we'll be able to provide that information then. Or you can contact your local law enforcement agency to see when the next gun familiarization course is being offered.
All right. Thank you so much, Tony, for taking the time. I'm Jerome Jones for Crime Stoppers from the Crime Stoppers studio. He's executive director Tony Garrett. Like us on Facebook and follow us on X, and also watch our Facebook. Stay up to date with the news because we'll have the dates and the times for that gun buyback coming up. Thank you.